Hello and welcome back to Deep Dive Cinema, the only cinema and comic book podcast where you will definitely hear rain in the background.
Well, rent's down, rent's due, production quality is lacking. We got to cut some corners here, so we're recording in a corrugated iron shed.
In the middle of the Amazon rainforest.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
you know how it be in this industry.
Real talk though, yeah, sorry about the rain. We can't do anything about that because we do not have Storm from X-Men's mutant abilities.
No.
How you doing, Elliot?
I'm doing pretty good. We went to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse today. And
do you think that Into the Spider-Verse would have been a sufficient title?
I think you needed the Spider-Man in there.
Maybe just to sell it to kind of the average, yeah. It does feel like a bit of a mouthful, though.
Yeah, Spider's in there twice.
Yeah.
If you were to call it anything else, what would you call it?
Maybe I'd call it something along the lines of Uncle Aaron's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's it.
Miles' big day off versus the big cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my throat's a little sore this week, so my talking voice might not be as good as usual, which is probably, welcomed by a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, you weren't meant to agree with me.
I was just being honest here. I started listening to a podcast, and in the first episode, it jumped from one season to another, and when the second season started, the guy who kind of does the most talking, he kind of runs it, had a cold, and he just sounded like a different person.
Oh, so do you think it was a different person?
No, it was the same guy, but...
No, but did you realize straight away?
Well, yeah, because he was like, hi, my name is, but I was like, damn.
I don't think we did that this episode, so one of us could be a Skrull imposter.
Oh.
Because Skrulls, despite their shape-shifting ability,
they can't
lie.
Yeah.
It's against their
and they can't quite
ethics.
Get the voice down either.
No.
It always sounds like they've got a cold.
That'd be the worst. Like, you've nearly got the ability to mimic someone perfectly, but not quite.
Yeah, but what if during, the Skrull invasion, you're Iron Man, you're regular Iron Man, and then you get a cold?
Oh, everyone's...
Even you probably man, even I think I'm a Skrull,
Iron Man had just nanobot that cold, nip it in the bud.
Yeah, maybe he was a bad example.
Let's talk about Spider-Verse, Elliot.
I really, really enjoyed it. I was expecting for it to be pretty good, but I was actually kind of blown away by it. Whoa, I really, really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I feel like I would see that again in the cinema even.
Yeah, it was, as expected, it was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
But then, even how it looked kind of exceeded my expectations. There was kind of a lot of fight scenes where it really, really shook me. Wow, that's some great animation right there. And the storyline was mad emotional as well.
Yeah, well, I thought that they did a really, really good job with both the storyline, as you say, and just the way that it looked in some of the fight sequences, especially towards the end, felt really plucked out of a comic book or a video game, and kind of a little bit abstract even at parts. Really.
And the I think the bases of the storyline were pretty. You could see where they were going, but you kind of. Unlike other films, I didn't end up focusing on that because the characters in it were really, really grabbed your attention, and so I was more looking at each character's individual story as opposed to the overarching story.
Yeah, I agree. So we asked. Well, I was re-listening to our podcast from last week because I think I ran out of time to actually listen to the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
But we saw a film. What did we see last week? Oh, I forget, but basically our review was what was your favorite Creed? Oh, what was your favorite Creed? That was it.
Yeah.
So, who was your favorite Spider-Man?
Spider-Man Noir was really good.
He was so fun.
He was so funny, and he wasn't I'm goofy funny, because we were expecting him to be quite serious, but it was the fact that he was so comically serious that he ended up being really funny. They were
I thought he'd be kind of Nolan Batman type.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man Noir basically is what if Spider-Man was Batman.
Yeah.
But so I really expected him to be more kind of just the gruff one, and then the more comedic Peter Parker, not the original, the Jewish one.
Yeah. But instead
he'd be oh, get a load of this guy.
Yeah, but instead everyone kind of just accepted him. But he was I'm a kick-ass private eye, and I love punching Nazis, and you're a bum, and you're a soft-bellied turtle, and I'm gonna punch the daisies out of you.
He said some weird stuff. I really liked his description of himself was sometimes I light a match and let it burn down to my fingers just to feel something, anything. I was like, wow,
and
okay, bro.
There's a bit where they're talking to Miles and seeing if he's ready to be Spider-Man. They're like, can you keep punching? Can you do a flip? And he's like, can you live with the emotional weight of the moral grey area that you go into with your work or whatever? Like, well, Spider-Man Noir, are you okay?
He's not just grey in colour scale, he's also grey in
his
moral ambiguity. What's the word? Ambiguity. Yeah. So that was fun.
It was. But I really liked the Peter B. Parker, who's kind of the regular
Jewish Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's like, if the Spider-Man...
There's a million things to differentiate him from regular one, but just the fact that he got married and then he smashed the glass, I was like, this one's Jewish, alright.
It's the Spider-Man you know and love, and the twist is he's kind of given up on life.
Yeah, or life has given up on him.
Whoa.
You ever think about it like that?
Okay, Spider-Man Noir. Yeah, what I liked about... This isn't even a joke. What I liked about Spider-Ham was there wasn't a lot of him.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think if there was a lot of him, it would have been a bit too much. But there was just enough of him.
I think he was fun, but could have got a bit insufferable if there was too much.
Yeah, for sure. So I think they handled him well. Yeah, overall, each of them was very different to one another. Yeah. And they all really stood out. And because obviously when you're making a film where your cast is a group of people who are all the same but just slightly different, the Warriors, they're going to be, you're going to get very samey, but they were all very distinct from each other, so I thought it was clever how they did that. Yeah,
I thought it was they really did a lot with like potentially not very much, like, the storyline wasn't super convoluted or anything, but it worked in a really nice way. And some cast members that I just want to say were particularly good. Haley Steinfeld as Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
Liv Schreiber as Kingpin was brilliant.
Oh, he
Nicolas Cage as Spider-Noir. And also Mahershala Ali as the Prowler.
Yes.
He was so good, right?
Yeah, I think we had a great big array of villains in this one. We had the Prowler, Green Goblin,
female Doc Ock,
the Scorpion.
But Scorpion with actual robotic scorpion legs.
Yeah,
he's like Darth Maul from the Clone Wars.
Well, he had just like regular legs that I thought were like exoskeleton suit pants, but then his legs like split into spider legs.
That was weird.
Scorpion legs, I guess.
Hey, it's all arachnids here.
Yeah. Hey. What else did we have? We had a little bit of Spider-Gwen fighting the Lizard, who was just huge.
The Lizard in Spider-Gwen's reality, Peter Parker's the Lizard.
Oh yeah,
and he dies.
Okay. Who else did we have? We had Kingpin, who's comically huge.
Yeah,
he's this
like
black
20 people size.
He's this matte black square with then like the detailed face in the middle.
Yeah.
And you see him get out of a car and you're like, you're bigger than the car.
He's like 5 times larger than the car.
Yeah. We had a guy who we think is Tombstone.
Yeah, I looked it up and he is Tombstone.
Yeah. We had the Prowler. Do we have anyone else?
I can't think of anyone else. There's in Spider-Gwen's reality there was a regular Doc Ock who had like metallic arms instead of the plasticky pulsy ones in this.
Yeah, so her arms in this are kind of like a
Hoover or something.
Yeah,
right?
a bit like a Hoover. Or do you ever get those water bottles that are plastic and when they're empty you can kind of squash them down, they compact. They're kind of like that,
but probably pretty thick.
Yeah, but they don't look super strong, but then when they're used, you're like, oh wow, these they're actually, by not being metal, they're stronger. They're more useful.
What did you not like about this film?
What did I not like about this film? Why don't you? You've probably got this prepared, so I'll have a little think while you tell me what you didn't like.
I don't really have anything prepared, but just thinking about it right now. I wasn't super keen on the fact that they kind of set up Gwen or Spider-Gwen as a love interest for Miles instead of Peter, or just I didn't really think that she necessarily needed to be a love interest for anyone. I think Spider-Gwen's quite a loner, independent character anyway, and I think that it's weird to set up Gwen as anyone other than a Peter love interest, because there's no precedent for that as far as I'm aware.
It was a little bit of like a will they, won't they, and at the end they both took off their masks and I was like, oh, they will, but then they just like high-fived and I was like, oh, they won't.
Yeah, but then she like shows up through a portal while he's on his bed, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to hang out or something?" And I was like, "Oh, that was maybe a bit unnecessary, but all right."
I was kind of confused about the Aunt May in this universe.
Yeah, she didn't seem to be grieving or anything, did she? Really?
No, she was at the start. She was like, "Oh no, my son Spider-Man is dead." But then she was like, "What's up, dudes? Let's get into some Spider-Man action."
She basically ended up being like the Alfred of this universe.
Yeah, She was like, because she made Miles Morales his web shooters. Yeah, and I know that normally he doesn't make his own web shooters, does he? But
he gets like mentored by Peter Parker for some time before he dies.
I think it would have made more sense if like Spider-Man had given him because the fact that she was like, "I made them myself," I was like, well,
how?
Aunt May, what are you doing?
Yeah, what was Aunt May's job when she was young? Do we ever find that out? I don't recall.
No, but I'm at the moment in comics where whenever she's ill, which is every second issue, she has a heart attack, whatever, Peter's like, "Hey, enough of that full contact American football and karate, go easy on that." And she's like, oh Peter,
you're such a case or something.
You're a caution.
You're a caution, that's it, yeah.
And they're still like every time she comes on, she's like, "Oh, you pussy willows," and everyone's like, "Aunt May, it's pussycats." They're basically like, Pussy Willow isn't gonna happen. Stop trying to make Pussy Willow happen.
Poor Aunt May. She just wants to have like the impact of one like viral phrase before she dies, but they're not letting it happen. Yeah. Well, you're soon going to get out of that period of the comics where she nearly dies every issue, and you'll get to the part where instead she decides to marry Doc Ock. So you've got that to look forward to.
Oh yeah, here's something that I was thinking about. Peter Parker is talking to Doc Ock before he realizes that she's Doc Ock.
Yes.
And she says she's Dr. Octavius, and he's like, "Let me guess, your friends call you Doc Ock?" And she's like, "No, my friends call me Liz. Or Liv. Liv. My enemies call me Doc Ock." And when she shows up at May Parker's house, she goes, "Oh, it's Liv."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Did they also get married in this universe?
I doubt it.
Yeah, it was just, it stood out to me that, like, are they friends?
I don't know. Well, she was on TV at the beginning of the film, wasn't she? So maybe she's familiar with it through TV.
I don't know. It's the fact that she said it was my friends call me Liv.
That might have just been a quippy one-liner, though, as well, I suppose. As well as being kind of emotional in terms of the scope of the story, and especially kind of the trio of relationships between Jefferson Davis, who's Miles Morales' father, and his brother Aaron, who is the Prowler. Yeah. Like, just all three of that kind of, not love triangle, relationship triangle was just really very interesting. It was, particularly well done, I thought. As well as that, there were two extremely kind of poignant and emotional moments for me in the film. And the first one, which I didn't think would affect me as much as it did, was the Stan Lee cameo. Oh, yeah. I really didn't expect it to be... I thought it was going to be like a happy moment, and it was, and I think that it was exactly the kind of cameo moment that Stan Lee, would have liked, and kind of the ones that he'll be remembered for. But also, it just felt particularly fitting, considering, unfortunately, his passing in recent times, and that hit me quite hard. I felt
especially since it came just a bit that Peter Parker died. Yeah, the Peter Parker from Miles Morales' universe.
Yeah, that was tough.
And that was, although I knew it was going to happen, it was kind of, seeing New York's reaction to that was very emotional.
Yeah, it really was. And I'll get back to that point in just a moment, but I wanted to say also another artist passing was XXXTentacion was on the soundtrack in this, who died about 6 months ago, and as much as I understand him to be like a pretty horrid person, if what you see online is to be true, I quite enjoy a lot of his music, and if you remove him from as an artist from him as a person for a moment, I thought his music was really interesting. And while I don't know very much about music, I find that often the people who aren't really trained classically and kind of make mistakes and then make them their own and stuff, they're kind of often the people who will be remembered longer than other people. I feel like his impact on music I think he was 21 upon dying. Was huge already, and to hear him even just like on a verse in this, I felt packed a bit of a punch as well. I was like, I didn't think I'd hear him again, and especially kind of just because of the quality of the music that he makes and kind of his notoriety. I definitely didn't think you'd see him in something in the likes of a Spider-Man film. So yeah, I felt like a bit of a double whammy from Ghosts of the Past there.
Yeah. Speaking of music, the music in this was really good.
It was very good.
Throughout.
Yeah. Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
Nicki Minaj.
Everything was super fitting, and everything was. It really added to the scenes, I felt.
Yeah, I felt like with everything being super stylized comic book, it might not really work with kind of like that contemporary rap and hip hop and R&B in parts, I suppose. But goddamn, it did.
Yeah,
yeah, really, it was really nice.
I felt that this film also was really good with references.
Oh, definitely.
Because there was times when you thought something was a reference, and they're like, no, we're just gonna bring it in at, like, for example, at the start. Miles Morales' dad was like, you gotta go to school, you end up like your uncle, and we're like, haha, his uncle's
he's the Prowler,
supervillain.
yeah.
But then the Prowler's in it,
yeah. I was particularly fond of, on 2 occasions, he opens his phone to call somebody. On the first time, you see B. Bendis, which is Michael B. Bendis, who wrote a lot of the Marvel Now stuff in like the 2010s, including Miles Morales.
Yeah.
So he's often credited as basically the sole creator of Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And then the second time there was Steve Ditko on who's the original artist and partially the creator of Spider-Man, and passed this year also, as well as Stan Lee. So both of them just were so nice to see. Like they weren't particularly subtle or anything, but I just felt really pleased that they were in there.
I was like, wow, that guy has a lot of contacts.
Yeah, he sure does.
He scrolls through people for a while to get to, he's like, who could I possibly talk to? And he scrolls through like 100 friends, and like, any of these?
I mean, if you think about it though, like we live in Ireland, and there's probably like 4 times as many people in New York as there are in all of Ireland. So if you're living that close to people, you're bound to know a lot of people.
Of course,
But that being said, I have like 6 contacts in my phone.
My favorites list is probably like a third of the length of my actual list.
I don't even have a favorites list.
It's so little, yeah.
Yeah, for real. I expected we'd get more Spider-Man than we did, actually. I thought even just for a second we'd get, Spider-Man 2099, or we'd get Scarlet Spider, or Ben Reilly, or...
kind of how they dealt with that was you go to kind of Spider-Man's lair, and he has cases with kind of all the Spider-Man suits in, and there was like this PlayStation 4 suit was in there, but then
that's right.
I think the Scarlet Spider suit was in there.
I think
so
like the kind of, not the Infinity War Iron Spider suit, but the Civil War Iron Spider suit is in there, definitely.
It's almost like that Spider-Man was like the Spider-Man Prime, he was kind of...
Well, he did seem to be kind of like at his peak, didn't he?
He was at his peak, but he also like had links to every other Spider-Man kind of tied to that guy,
I can imagine that that Spider-Man wasn't bothered by the thought of like parallel dimension travel or something, so it's quite feasible that he'd already kind of gone through that already at that stage, and was getting suits from alternate places, alternate realities, and what have you. I just want to bring attention to the fact that I just popped a pen, and I've now got ink all over my neck and fingers.
Is it on your neck?
Yeah.
I can't really... You were kind of scratching your neck, and you pulled it away, and it was covered in black, and you're like... Bah!
Damn. It's venom. It's me, Eddie. So fun times. Not the ink, but Spider-Man was good.
How would you rate this on our famous Pierce Brosnan scale?
Oh, well, everyone, since the moment this film came out, everyone's been asking Mira or Elliot, whichever one is which, because I don't know still. Because you rarely introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
But when you do, you say it over the top of each other.
I'm Mira.
Anyway, we're getting off track. So everyone's been saying, where does this sit on the Pierce Brosnan scale? And I'm going to give this a strong Pierce Brosnan. Only missing the AN.
Yeah, I think I'm also a Pierce Brosnan.
I think there were a few moments that just kind of like... I felt like this could be like a pretty just... tick the boxes for all ages and all kind of demographics of anyone who's interested in Spider-Man.
Yeah. And
there were a couple of moments that just dragged it down a little bit in terms of kind of like formulaic kids stuff to me, such as Kingpin being defeated at the end with him putting his hand on the shoulder and doing the hey joke from earlier in the film. I was like, that didn't need to happen.
No.
It was just kind of like a, hey, remember this from half an hour ago? And those kind of things sometimes just do drag it down in a little bit. Like, I can imagine like in the 40s or 50s, someone wrote like this is how you do a kid's film.
And since then,
nearly every kid's film falls into that, and I felt like that just veered a little bit too close for me.
Too close to,
But otherwise, really, really good. and I say bring back more Juice WRLD in the sequel, because whether you like Juice WRLD or not, goddamn, that's a funny name.
It is.
Yeah, and I think that this definitely opens up the possibility for Sony to do more animated films, and I think this was great. Stick with this instead of doing Kraven the Hunter, the spin-off of Venom, which is the spin-off of Spider-Man, but Spider-Man doesn't exist.
Yeah, because why have a Spider-Man film with no Spider-Man when you can have a Spider-Man film with 7 Spider-Man?
Exactly, it makes up for it, right? Yeah. It all cancels out. Also, I just want to draw attention to the fact that Amy Pascal and Avi Arad, who are producers at Sony, who produced Spider-Man 3, also produced this and made fun of Peter Parker dancing in the street and doing finger guns at people. So both good on them for making fun of themselves, but also don't try and profit on your own mistakes, you fools.
Yeah. There's an excellent bit where you learn that this Spider-Man Prime he was like, oh, I've got a TV show, I've got a this, I've got a that. I released a Christmas album.
Oh yeah.
And then during the credits we hear it, and he's just kind of
in its entirety,
and it's kind of jingle bells. But then as it goes on, it gets messier and messier until he's like, why am I doing this? I have a degree in bioengineering, whatever, chemical engineering.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Before we wrap this segment up, because it has gone on a little bit long, but hey, I had fun talking about that film as much as I did seeing it. There was a young boy. I made a weird noise with my mouth. You ever do that where you smile and you make like a squelch? Yeah. Did we talk about this last week? I think we might have done. I'm getting deja vu.
This is a smile podcast where we just talk about smile noises.
How is that smile on the Pierce Brosnan scale? I'm giving that one a pie. Yo, do you ever think Pierce begins with pie? I just worked that out.
Well,
pie from now on is the coveted top ranking on the Pierce Brosnan scale.
It goes Pierce. It goes all the way up to Pierce Brosnan and then back to pie.
Yeah. I don't even remember what I was going to say now. So who cares?
Who cares? That's life. C'est la vie.
Yeah.
Before we move on,
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. You had one last thing to say about it. I think there's a young boy.
Oh yes, there was a young boy sat next to us in the cinema who had a Spider-Man, like, I don't know if it was a onesie or a hoodie, like, you know, it's dark in a cinema, but Spider-Man apparel on.
Yeah.
And was really quite upset from the point in which Peter Parker died, and continued to be upset at every kind of low point throughout the film, and eventually had to leave. And it was only then that I realized that in 2018, Spider-Man has now been killed on screen twice.
Oh yeah, in the same year he's died twice.
So I guarantee 2018 is going to be a year looked back on by a lot of people who are in, you know, 10 or less now as like the year that Spider-Man gave them a great deal of emotional trauma. So bold moves, Marvel. Good on you, I guess, for throwing some curveballs. Well, I'm going to go into Far From Home now and be like, when does he die? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Is that all?
That's all, I think.
Okay, great. Let's move on to our next section, which is this week's Crap Comic Book Character of the Week. Now, this one's, again, a little briefer. I think we've kind of been cutting this segment down a little bit. Not that we're not interested in it, but I think just we tended to go on too long with them to begin with.
So we're learning a bit more about podcasts now as we go along, you know.
Well, I sure like to think so.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, no one else agrees. No, but Aquaman came out this week. We have not yet seen it.
No.
I this week stayed with my friend Georgie, who is a listener of the show, who I've mentioned before, I'm sure, and she said that she is not going to see it because who cares, but also she's looking forward to hearing us talk about it. Okay, so we have to see it.
Yeah.
Just for you, Georgie.
Yeah, we're doing this for you.
Thanks for letting me stay in your house.
And for the price of that is the iron price.
Your house gets pie on the Pierce Brosnan scale. Yes, but as a result of not having seen it, we want to talk a little bit about Aquaman anyway. So I did some deep diving, if you will, into the Aquaman Rogue Gallery.
Yeah.
Which will not only be the Crap Comic Book Character of the Week segment, but also the following segment.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to preface this by saying, I don't know about you, Elliot. I've always been very interested in Aquaman, but never have read a great amount of his comics. No. The first ever job I wanted when I was like 3 years old was being a marine biologist. So I've always kind of thought that the sea was fascinating, and it's a fascinating setting. But the fact that there's like 8 volumes of Aquaman makes it really hard to like know where to start and stuff as well. So I will eventually get through it all, but yeah. So I like Aquaman. I'm not one of these people who's just like, this is so ridiculous, because whatever, ridiculous is fine.
Why is this ridiculous?
But there are ridiculous aspects. There are ridiculous aspects, and that often falls into the rogue gallery. So today we're going to talk about AquaBeast. Or the AquaBeast, depending on what sources you're looking at.
Okay.
So this is a proper like early 60s villain. I think it's issue like 38 or something like that of Aquaman. So at this stage, Aquaman's chilling in the ocean. His girlfriend's Mera or however it's said, I don't know, and frankly I don't care, just as long as people don't say Mira, because then people are going to be confused and I'm going to be confused.
You're like the Spider-Man meme where both of them are pointing at each other.
Yeah, except she's got green scales and red hair, and I'm just a dude in like a baggy hoodie. So yeah, he's chilling with her in Atlantis. I think he's king at this stage, or at least kind of he's betrothed.
He's diplomat.
Yeah, Aqualad's just there chilling, being Aquaman, but younger and appealing to a younger audience.
Yeah.
So they're just swimming about in the sea.
No tats on this boy.
No tat. Oh God, no. Not a single tat. In fact, he's got negative tattoos.
Whoa! Is he the kind of very bright blonde?
Yes, very blonde.
Very good.
No features.
Good boy. He looks a bit like if you put Fred into the ocean.
Exactly. Exactly. You couldn't describe it better than Fred, but he can talk to fish.
Yeah.
He's like, let's split up and look for schools.
He's got a whiz-cot made out of an eel.
No, he's got like the classic green pants and orange scaly top and stuff, and the bloody trident that he waves around.
Yeah.
But he's just swimming in the ocean. Anyway, up top, there's this chap called Dudley. on his private yacht. Now, as we know from all comic books, if you're rich and famous, there's no enjoyment left in life. You've peaked. Yeah. So instead of, he's on his boat, he's got a bunch of supermodels with him. Some guy comes and is like, New York on the phone for you, sir. And he's like, tell him I bloody took a long walk off a short pier, and then he jumps into the ocean, and he's like, the only place I can get away from all these responsibilities and I never have any fun anymore, only when I'm underwater do I have a good old time. But I've got a big old aquarium and I like looking at fish.
Okay.
So he's underwater. He sees, he's also like, these women, these supermodels, they're stupid bimbos. They're worth nothing.
Don't have them on your ship.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe he's like contractually obliged or something.
He drives past another ship and they swing by like on pirates.
He's like, oh no, not the supermodel pirates.
They scuba dive onto it.
So he's underwater, and then he sees Mera, female Aquaman.
Yeah.
Who can turn water into solid water.
Yeah.
Which is not ice.
It's just...
That confuses me, but okay. Is it compressed?
Yes.
Could she save global warming and rising sea levels by just compressing the water?
Yeah, but it'd be real hard for her.
Oh man.
Boo-hoo. What happens when she dies? Then just all of a sudden all of that water's going to come up at once.
Better them than me.
I guess.
This has been Environment Watch. Anyway, he's underwater. He sees Mera swimming around, one of them, or both.
Yeah, let's decide on one name for
her. Female Aquaman.
Female Aquaman, okay.
Okay, so he sees female Aquaman, and he's like, goddamn, she is the perfect woman, and I can tell because...
She's underwater.
No, first of all, he thinks she's a fish.
Of course.
Because,
what else is under the ocean?
Well, yeah, you're right, apart from him.
Yeah.
Well, he's rich, and he's not used to people being in his property.
Yeah.
So,
did he buy the ocean?
Yeah, he sure did. So he tries catching her because he thinks she's a fish.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh no, you're a woman, and by golly, you're beautiful, you're the best woman there is, and you gotta be mine. And then Aquaman comes over and beats him out the way, and he's like, what you doing catching this woman in a net? Don't you know that's not how you treat a lady? And then he like slaps her on the butt. Okay. And he's like, no, that's how you treat a lady. No, I don't know, he doesn't do that, but this is the period in time where this is the kind of thing that happens. So he's like, oh, I'm very sorry, Aquaman and female Aquaman. I thought she was a fish, and it's a simple misunderstanding. And female Aquaman's like, yeah, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
And then he's like, please accept my apology and come and see my beautiful yacht. And female Aquaman does the classic, like, oh, Arthur, can we please? Yeah. Please, we must go. So they go on the yacht. He kicks all the supermodels off in the middle of the ocean to make room for Aquaman and female Aquaman. They have a great old time. Then he's just like kind of a creep and is just like, you will be my wife, and she's like, haha, okay.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, see ya, and he's like, yeah, bye. And they go into the ocean, and then Aquaman, being like the real detective chap he is, he's like, I think that guy has the hots for you. And she's like, no, you're just jealous. And then you like look back 3 panels and it's like, you will be my wife.
My wife, yeah.
So as soon as they're gone, he gets his like Alfred Butler type dude on the boat, and he's like, why does she like Aquaman but not me? He's stronger, he's handsomer, he's stronger again, he's probably wealthier. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm guessing he is. I must become just like Aquaman. And the guy's like, okay, whatever, sir. So
as I get paid.
He flies out this German scientist called like Franz Lerzog or something typically German, like that. Flies him out, and he's like, you got to turn me into Aquaman. And he's like, yeah, okay, but this might not work. And he's like, all right, no problem. Go for it.
Go for it anyway.
So it's like 2 days later, and the guy's like, oh, he hasn't woken up yet. Maybe it's not working and he's just going to die. And then for like 1 frame, he turns into like an exact carbon copy of Aquaman, including the clothes.
Of course, yeah. He grew
but
them
then,
like a second skin.
Yes, but then he just like morphs into like a like really mutated, ugly looking big guy.
Okay.
Still with the outfit.
Yeah.
But he's still got like the blonde hair and the suit and stuff.
So he's
just like a distorted version of Aquaman.
And
I'm talking
Aquaman,
like rugby player type ugly. Like I'm not like the pretty boy rugby players of today, but like the 80s guys who've broken their nose like 70 times and they've just like, they're botched and cauliflower ears and everything. And so he looks like that then. Then I don't know, he can now breathe underwater and stuff. Whatever. He steals Mura and he's like, "You're gonna be my buddy wife," and he beats up Aquaman and Aqualad, and he is significantly stronger than them because he's bigger, obviously, and big equates stronger. Yeah, always. That sounded pretty bitter. I am short. I didn't mean that to sound bitter. So he whisks him away to this part of the ocean called like the Forgotten Land of the Sea or something.
Oh, is it the big chasm with all the spooky guys in it?
I guess.
Okay.
Though there's loads of them. There's loads of like spooky areas of the sea in this. Yeah. He's like, no one will go here. It's the perfect place for us to get married. And she's like, no. Anyway, then there's these like
the
robotic lobster type dudes who live like under the surface of the Forgotten Chasm or whatever it is, and they're called demonoids, and they attack, and there's just like too many of them. So they're fighting them a little bit. He gets like a bit overthrown, and then Aquaman and Aqualad come in. They're like, we're gonna save the day. But then there's a little bit here which I'm kind of blanking on.
Okay, no, that's fair.
They fight a bit.
Yeah, there's lobster man.
Aqualad keeps saying like suffering swordfish.
Oh really? Yeah, that's good comic writing.
But then there's this alien underwater who crash landed there, and he's stuck there, and he's like, Mura's brain is it's like a perfect match for my computer. If I can get the brain in my computer, then I can fly back to my home planet.
I thought he was going to be like, her brain is a perfect match for my computer. I need her to be my computer's wife. This is just every character just wants Mura to be.
Well, basically, if you look at Rogue Gallery, it's nearly everyone is just like wants to wed Mura. Yeah. Anyway, then he gets hold of Mura and is like, I'm going to put you in the bloody machine.
What?
And Aqua Beast is like, no, but then he just gets swatted back by this alien thing. I don't know what it's called. It's called something stupid like Zerg or something. Yeah.
Generic alien.
Then Aquaman and Aqualad turn up again. They're like, they travel around in one of those like lobster robot things, and they're like, demonoids. Like, let's bloody go.
So they're not riding on their seahorses.
No,
at
not
this
at this
point,
stage. No, unfortunately. I wish they were.
We can wish. We can hope.
Anyway, so they turn up. They fight the alien dude for a while, and they're pretty well beaten by him. And then Aqua Beast and also during this time, Aqualad's like, we gotta kill Aqua Beast, and Aquaman's like,
he's just a guy.
He's like, nah, he's all right. Like, I know he's kidnapped my wife, and he's like, that was probably the Germans doing. Like, it's not. I know he told the German to do it, but it's not his fault.
It was reverse psychology or something.
And Aqualad's like, wow, he is so brave and spectacular and so full of forgiveness, and he doesn't hold anyone accountable. And it's like, yeah, okay, we get it. He's a good dude. Anyway, they fight, and then Aqua Beast and the alien dude then start fighting, and then a whirlpool goes past, and they both get sucked into the whirlpool and killed.
Okay.
And they're both just gone then.
Because they just happen underwater, you know? They're like underwater tornadoes. You just can't stop them.
That's exactly it.
You need Aqua Flash to come and swim around it in the opposite direction really fast.
Apparently they did that in that new Elseworld. The Flash Supergirl crossover type thing.
Yeah.
Apparently they did that where they just ran around the world fast to make it go back in time, the same way that they did in the Superman film. Right. Yeah, so God knows how that works.
My friend watches The Flash exclusively.
Why?
Exclusively because The Flash is attractive and he has musical numbers.
Does he?
Yeah.
What?
There's a couple episodes which are musicals of The Flash.
Oh no.
And she recently put up on her story. She was like, "This is the best iteration of Superman," because apparently Superman's in that show.
Yeah.
And yeah, he
in
looks
Supergirl or in the Flash?
In the Flash.
Oh.
And yeah,
weird.
He does look like Superman. So
well, you bloody hope so.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna do? I'll watch those episodes and tell you how good of a Superman is he for next week.
Okay. Well, what's the before we get back to the end of this? What's the high point of Superman? Who's the best Superman?
Well, I don't know. Who have we had so far? We've had Christopher Reeves. We've had Henry Cavill. Who else have we had as Superman?
There was that one guy in Batman Returns.
Oh, yeah.
Who looked like Christopher Reeves but wasn't. I'm going with him. He's the high point. I don't know his name.
We all remember him so well, you know. He really stayed with us through our childhood.
Stuck out.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that sounds good. We'll do that next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, then Aquaman's like, yeah, he's dead, but it probably wasn't a bad bloke. And then they go and visit the German guy, and they're like, yeah, you're all right. And
keep making those guys. They were fun to fight.
Yeah, that's basically it. So Aquabeast just sucks. He's just like, I want a wife, and I'm just exactly the same as Aquaman.
Yeah. I'm getting a lot of Batman versus Superman. What do you call him? What's his name? Doomsday.
Doomsday,
yeah. Where he's just the same as Superman, but big.
Exactly. Well, also I thought about this, and I don't know, all the reviews for Aquaman are like, it's bad, but like it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, do this, and you know what? Get what's the name of the dude who plays Drax?
Oh,
like, you know, Guardians is probably done now because of the James Gunn firing. So get that guy in.
Get Drax in.
Get what's his name? Batista.
Dave Batista.
I was going to say Balboa, but that is not correct. Get him in, and like he's Pacific Islander ancestry, doesn't he? And Jason Momoa, who's playing Aquaman, is Hawaiian, so like yeah we're kind of close.
Yeah,
just put some like big old prosthetics on him, and like who cares?
Ugly him up a bit.
Yeah, right.
We're good to go.
Or just beat him up, put him in a wrestling match, and then film immediately afterwards.
Was he a wrestler, Dave Batista?
Yeah, he was WWE.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll be. Yeah, just do that. It'd be fun.
And who'd you have as the German guy?
Oh, who cares?
Who cares?
Any? They're not even usually German. It's probably Toby Jones or someone like. You know, just, who cares?
Anyone who played a Hydra agent.
Yeah,
you know?
just come in and be like, oh, want to do the bad science.
The experiment is going wrong.
Oh no! Oh scheiße!
We did it.
We wrote the script. DC, I'll collect my check now.
Yeah.
Just before I forget, also, last week we talked about how I put a poll up on Twitter, which you can follow us at Deep Dive Cinema on Twitter and Instagram. Yeah. But I put a poll up saying, who's the better, please engage with our Twitter page. Is it Ocean Master or Black Manta? And last week, Black Manta was leading by like 60% to 40%.
Yeah.
And there's been a bit of a switcheroo. It's like 65-35 in favor of Ocean Master now.
Well, there you go, Ocean Master. What are you if not Aqua Loki?
Yeah, really makes you think.
And
I think Ocean Master is probably written before, you know, the Norse god Loki.
Yeah. Probably.
You know.
Probably. I think Aquaman is such a rich and, you know, it's really a part of our culture. It's gone back so long, like, further than Norse. I mean, like,
oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, water's existed longer, so it's got to be.
Yeah. Since we invented water, I think
we crawled out of the ocean.
Yeah. We've had Ocean Master.
I agree, and it's always been Patrick Wilson as well.
Oh, he's timeless.
Yeah. I don't know if I should say this for like privacy reasons, but I went to school with a guy called Patrick Wilson.
Oh yeah.
But he looked really like a young Matt Damon, so it was confusing for everyone.
Everyone was like Matt Damon. He was like, who? Patrick Wilson, but they were talking to someone else. It
was a wild ride. But anyway, so yeah, that's our crap comic book character of the week. He sucks.
Yeah.
But what I thought would be fun is actually this was your suggestion, but I've done the homework on it, so I'm taking credit. Okay.
We were playing Spider-Man and we were watching football, and you were looking through the Rogues Gallery.
Well, you were playing Spider-Man and I was watching football.
Yeah. No, we had two screens and we were doing both at once.
You'd never watch football.
But you do play Spider-Man.
That's true.
Yeah. And you were reading through the Rogues Gallery and just chuckling at all of them. Like, there's some of them had you like just on the floor, just loving.
Some of them are really,
because they were all so ridiculous. So I said, how about you find a list of some that are real, and then you make up some of your own.
Yes.
You're going to tell me them. Give me like a. Are you going to give me like a?
So I've got the names, and I've got like occasionally 2-sentence description.
Okay,
of them.
perfect. Yeah.
So
and I've got to decide: are they real or are they fake?
That's exactly it.
What are we going to call this segment?
Real or fake? An Aquaman story. Brought to you by Mountain Dew.
Okay, and do I say real or fake, or do we have more fun words for that?
We give it Pierce or Brosnan.
Okay, Pierce is true and Brosnan is false.
Pierce Brosnan's going to be demanding like royalties from this. Okay.
You know, that really works though, because I remember.
But also, I want you to tell me like why you think it's Pierce or Brosnan.
Yeah. Okay. Hit me with the first one.
All right. Okay. So I've got quite a few here, but like we'll see how long they take. Yeah. All right. Okay. So this is Zen.
Zen.
Alien who abducts Atlanteans for his space aquarium.
Okay.
True or false? Oh wait, no, sorry.
Pierce or Brosnan?
Cut that out, editor. Pierce or Brosnan?
I'm gonna go with Brosnan. I think this is too vanilla for I think they're gonna be crazier than this, so I'm gonna say this is a Brosnan.
That is a Pierce.
Oh,
that's real.
He did take them for his space aquarium.
I'm easing you into this, so you don't know which way I'm gonna go. I was
being too smart.
Okay, Wacky Man.
Okay.
Is a clown who impersonates Aquaman.
I'm gonna go Pierce again.
That is Pierce also.
Because you wouldn't have called him Wacky Man. You would have called him like the ocean clown.
No,
or something.
Wait till as we get through this, you're gonna realize that Wacky Man is one of the normalest names. Okay, now there's the Unthing.
Oh.
And his literal description on Wikipedia, if it's real, is. Nearly all of these are like basically ripped exactly from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Just a sexist man who can turn invisible underwater.
What? Only underwater?
Yes, but he's human, so he can't breathe underwater.
Oh my! What's it called?
The Unthing.
I'm gonna have to go with Pierce again.
That's Pierce as well.
Okay.
All right. Now we've got Alchemist Hyrule. An alchemist friend of Merlin who wants to turn all water into stone.
Why?
I haven't read it.
Brosnan.
Brosnan. Wait, I always read Brosnan's false.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's fake.
Okay.
Shark Wilson.
Shark Wilson.
Shark Wilson. His description: a magic shark man.
Brosnan.
No, it's Pierce.
Okay.
Queequeg.
What? How'd you spell Queequeg?
Like queen without the N, and then Queeg.
Okay.
Queequeg. Or Keykeg, or I don't know.
Okay.
Insane whaler who has an Ahab Moby Dick relationship, but with Aquaman.
Oh, so he cut off. So, did Aquaman bite off his leg?
I don't know. It depends if it's real or not.
Pierce.
That is indeed Pierce.
Okay, what we'll do is, maybe in the video we'll put up Pierce equals true, just so everyone's on the same board.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll try to do something like that.
Because I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Okay, The Big Thirst.
What? The Big Thirst.
Yeah. Also, oh no, I can't say that actually. That'll give away if it's true or false.
Okay.
Android Chinese soldier who wants to drink the entire ocean to cool the nuclear reactor that powers his robotics.
What? Pierce.
No, that's Boris Brosnan.
Okay.
I made that one up. I'm proud of that one, though. That's
the
good.
Big Thirst.
I wish that was real.
See, now that you've said it's fake, I can clearly imagine you being like the Big Thirst.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Then we've got Bessie, Loch Ness Monster's older brother.
But isn't like Bessie a cow name?
I presume it's because it rhymes with Nessie.
Yeah, brother. I'm gonna go with Brosnan.
That's Brosnan.
Yeah.
Mongo, the ruler of an ancient city of evil.
That's so vague. I'm gonna go with Pierce.
That's Pierce.
Yeah.
You're getting good at this. As we've discussed previously, all DC villains are going to be Doctor or Professor something.
Yeah.
This is Dr. Revenge, a marine biologist who takes umbrage with Aquaman's control of sea creatures and thinks he should give up his life to make up for the fish that have died at his service.
What's his name?
Dr. Revenge.
Oh, so he's not really revenge. He's kind of just like freedom for fish.
Yeah, I guess he's a freedom fighter for fish. The FFF.
I'm gonna go with Brosnan.
That's Brosnan.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not good at this.
No, I think I know you maybe too well.
Murdo the Wizard.
So many of these are wizardy.
Yeah, honestly. Murdo the Wizard, an evil wizard who impersonates Aquaman's octopus friend Topo.
What? He has an octopus friend called Topo?
You're goddamn right he does.
Pierce.
That is Pierce.
Oh, great. I'm glad that's a Pierce.
Now, this one's pretty vague. The malignant amoeba is a giant artificial life form created by scientists. Will eat anything, including the city of Atlantis.
Pierce?
That's Pierce.
Okay.
You've got I don't know what your record is here, but it's pretty good.
Well, maybe we'll listen through and we'll give me a point as well.
Yeah, maybe. Lemur, an alien who tries to steal all of Earth's water.
Brosnan.
No, that's Pierce. Lemurs are aliens in DC, just so you know.
What? Every time we come across one I'm like, I say Pierce, and I'm like, please don't be, please let me be wrong this time.
Wait, did you say Pierce for that one or Brosnan for that one?
Brosnan.
Brosnan, you did. Okay, good, right. Krutz. Krutz is now this one's from 1942.
Okay,
so take that as you will.
We're going old school.
This is a Nazi commander who had a battleship which he disguised as an iceberg.
That's gotta be Pierce, just because everyone loved fighting Nazis.
That's Pierce. Alex Scamander.
Was he what killed the Titanic?
I didn't look that up, but I
killed
hope so.
the Titanic in quotation marks.
Slayed it in cold blood.
Yeah.
Very cold blood. Bloody iceberg. Okay.
That's a joke you're sure would be in that issue.
Alex Scamander or Scamander.
Oh yeah, I've seen Fantastic Beasts.
Oh yeah, you're right. Mutated amphibian who thinks only amphibious creatures should have the right to live in the ocean and launches racist propaganda to drive the rest of ocean life out.
Brosnan.
Yeah, it's Brosnan. Okay. I like that one too, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I can see that one happening. What I like about that one is he's like, fish, you don't belong in the ocean. You can't walk on land. Like, what does that mean?
It could be real, right? Yeah. A lot of these, honestly, I didn't put that many in because it'd be a bit repetitive, but a lot of these are just like a xenophobe or a racist. Yeah. Like, okay, fair enough.
Look, that guy came right after the Nazi.
Yeah. John Cook wants to use technology to advance ocean creatures' evolution.
Brosnan.
Pierce.
Oh, yeah?
Iceberg head.
No, this guy killed the Titanic.
Wants to freeze all the oceans. Eventually melts and becomes a peaceful water spirit.
Brosnan.
No, it's Pierce. His name is Iceberg Head.
Someone actually sat down in a boardroom and was like, okay guys, this guy's Iceberg Head. What I love about this is so many of them are you can put them into category A, racist, or B, wants to change the ocean in some way. Is it stone? Basically. Is it water? Is it drank by some guy?
I love the Big Thirst so bad. Can you imagine if he was just like actually the new Aquaman villain and everyone had to take him really seriously? He's just drinking it all. How big is he? Okay, and this is the last one.
Okay.
And I feel like this one is one of the harder ones because this is really on the knife's edge as to whether it's real or false.
Okay.
So the character is the human flying fish.
There's too many words in that name.
Yeah, there really are. And the description is short and sweet. Olympic swimmer who turned to crime.
The human flying fish, Olympic swimmer who turned to crime.
That's right.
That is a hard one. He's giving me eyes there telling me. They're not telling me nothing. They're just telling me the wrong things.
Like what?
You just look like you've got a sore stomach.
I do.
Olympic swimmer who turned to crime. I'm gonna go with Pierce.
It sure is. Well,
Good,
I think you got like 3 wrong there, so it's pretty damn good going.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you're the winner of this week's segment of Aquamans and where to villain them.
The ocean.
It's always the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he ever fight anyone not in the ocean?
Oh yeah, quite often. Okay. He always. Closer to his origin, he'd be like, I can't be out of water for more than like an hour at a time or whatever, because he'd dry out, and then he gets weaker the drier he is or something.
Oh, of course.
But nowadays he's often, and there's also like there was originally like 7 kingdoms of Atlantis or whatever, but then I think like they find out throughout the course of the comic book history that there were more.
Okay.
And there are some which were like oceans or now they're dried up or like whatever. Okay. So like now they're like on land or
so he has to go
or tectonic movement meant that there were places underwater that are now like most of Europe is like limestone, so like that was all underwater at some stage. So he's often like in the desert to like get something from an old temple and that kind of, he's anyway. And the likes of Black Manta and Ocean Master are often outside of the water as well. Okay. In fact, Ocean Master, I believe, has recently like flooded all of like North America in the comics. So
I was, before you said flooded all of North America, I was like 98% certain that you were going to say went into like American politics.
Well, he just tried convincing everyone to drown the country.
No, he was like, right, well, I can't rule Atlantis as king, so I'm going to go into politics, I'll be president.
I think that he'd consider himself too highly to spend too much time above water, but I can see it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Big Thirst coming to cinemas soon.
Yeah, I love him so much.
That was a fun segment. We should do that again sometime.
Yeah, something like that.
Problem is, though, there's only like a select few comic book characters that are ridiculous enough and are old enough to have a rogue gallery this large.
Yeah.
So,
like, I'm sure we could do it with some other guys, but it won't be like a weekly thing.
No, we'll do it again maybe when another kind of superhero film comes out as like some sort of tie-in or what have you. That was fun though, right?
It was. I enjoyed it. We'll do something different where we play a little game. Yeah.
Cool. I think that's all I've got for this week. Anything you want to add before we wrap this bad boy up?
No. Do we have any plans for next week? Just make sure they get those hooks in.
I don't know.
Waiting all week to that next juicy ep.
If we see Aquaman, we'll talk about that. If we don't, we won't probably. Just add a guess,
What if we don't see it, but we just pretend to, and we just talk about we write a plot, and then we just talk about what the film was like?
Maybe if we don't see it, we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah. All good. Well, thanks for listening. Please give us a follow on Instagram and Twitter at Deep Dive Cinema. We've got some original artwork from Elliot himself on the way.
Yeah.
And I can't think of anything else.
No, that's.
Oh yeah, Werner Herzog was cast in The Mandalorian, which is really weird. If you don't know who Werner Herzog is, look him up and try and imagine that guy in a Star Wars TV show.
Yeah.
That's the future where we've all got to look forward to.
Perfect. Well, stay safe. Don't fight any icebergs.
Yeah. Well, even if it's not an iceberg, man, it's just not.
You're not gonna win. I'm gonna be real with you here.
Yeah.
Flamethrower is your best option, but even then, like 90% of them icebergs underwater. So what are you going to do about that?
If you think about it, though, it's like a double whammy, because not only are you melting the iceberg, but you're also probably doing severe damage to the ozone layer, which will then melt it over time also.
I'm sure someone will come and stop you if you're just melting icebergs.
Who?
Someone's like, that's like the Dutch will be like, our country's gone because of you.
That sounds like your own personal problem.